I'm afraid of what would happen if we don't face the facts, because I see what the fear has done in people who are in denial, or I see a fraction of it in their public life with their masks that they never take off and so forth. And so we have to realize the obvious here, people, that scientism is like a modern Jonestown, except it was more of a long term. Again, these aliens are very adept at long term infiltration. So the shots, the space fence, Satan's club, and their overlord's last attempt to steal everything, because with these gadgetry, with the, as I've said, with UTAT, they can't really with UTAT they can't really do much, man. They're like, well, but because it just all gets obvious, we love, humanity has love and respect more than they were aware. So it's like the Heaven's Gate or the Jonestown slowed down, because they're, think about when they spread the hydrogenated oils around. It's a great example, man. You think humans would have thought about of this stupid idea to make hydrogenated oils and GMO foods? No, humans aren't that cruel and stupid. So we have to have pity on these creatures, because they're heartless, they're cruel, they're stupid, but yet they're brilliant when it comes to hybridizing and making us into robot slaves, if that's a brilliance. Again, I don't really think Satan or the demons are actually brilliant, but if it was possible, they would be. Okay, but see, even they have to be brought up to the Christos frequency or perish. Okay, because this is the age of awareness. They have no chance. Okay, so this is another central theme I wanted to make these two videos about, which is rejoice. We're entering the age of light, the end of this age of darkness. When they call the bubonic plague and so forth, well, there were some that say they saw, there was accounts of spaceships coming, like saucers, dropping gas out of saucers in that area that caused that. I mean, I'm not saying that I know for sure, Again, if you don't believe in this phenomenon, I mean, it was crazy. I had a staph and a herpes, like a simplex that was like going to get in my eyeball. And I went to the emergency room like probably 12 years ago. I was watching the History Channel. Yeah, I was going through some heavy things in that time, as I briefly have mentioned before, some of my trials. And there was a show on the History Channel of Ancient Aliens about how in Belgium 200 people called in to because they saw saucers or a craft. 200 people, 200 different people. So when I saw that, I'm like, well, I asked my spirit guides for years. I don't know if I mentioned this to other people. Like, I told my spirit guides I don't even want to deal with this issue because I want to make music. But since they locked the world down, I remembered how it felt when I got my cell phone and I put it to my head, and these tingling things I could feel, because I'm sensitive to energy. I could feel something electronic sucking out of my brain. If you don't believe me, I recommend to read the book The Electronic Silent Spring by Katie Singer. And she describes how the Dark Ones and all their money and their advanced technology, and they made sure that there was no chance, there was no one like C. Everett Koop was going to be involved with electronics. That's right. There's going to never be a label like on cigarettes for what I'm doing now. I'm probably frying my eyeballs. But they'll never tell me. You see, because they want to make money off chemotherapy. So, when JFK got shot, a CIA, and it might have been the Alan Foley's who along with these demons created the hijacked version, or maybe it was the whole thing. This is why all these agencies need to be shut down. If you watched America from Freedom to Fascism, Aaron Rubin proved. I don't know. You could probably find that on YouTube, BitChute, or Odyssey, and he proved something that, and he mysteriously died of cancer a few weeks after that was released. That it was about the Fed, the truth about the Fed. If you want to do the research on that. So again, when you do the research, um, oh the reason why I thought about writing this down was because my mom emailed me that Christiane Northrup was a part of the Q dangerous conspiracy theory cult. So this is what they say. This is what they call everything that brings light to what they're actually doing in the dark side. And but I can say it because I'm not famous, or because, again, we're at the age of disclosure, man. It's a crazy time to be alive, right? So everything that threatens the official narrative is a dangerous source of choice. What's that mean? That means that it's teaching you something beside this, again, Nazistic, communistic idea that you can only have this one viewpoint. If you go over here another mile to the left of this university, find someone that, and if you find someone that agrees with you about the idea that humans have a choice, now my, camp or my life might be threatened in some ways because, again, I recommend the book called The Great Mistake by Christopher Hitchens, that details how the 1% criminal family elites basically hijacked the university system, and particularly California, and by privatization. They're brilliant, and when it comes to evil and hijacking, like I say, but I don't really think it's brilliant because, again, all these things backfire because there's no heart or soul in it. It's only about getting rich. It's only about power. The inverted ones, they need to, like I say, they all have to realize the Christ, or perish. It's not a joke. Okay. So my whole life, I've actually studying shamanism, natural healing, herbology, Taoism, Buddhism, and with donations, I've been a sort of a real, basically, I've been a real scientist on this body. I've actually been experimenting on healing, learning, in the organic way with this body. Um, so we have to just accept that these aliens took over and hijacked in a mental way, and they're word pirates, the mainstream religions, the mainstream news are paid liars, just like politicians, and the scientism death cult. There's a belief in slavery, the 3D dogma. There is no God. Again, they don't believe in spirit or God, anything. They believe they're God. Their God, the scientism death cult, is God. Okay, so the personality or the ego identification is, again, to a Satanist, their ego is who they are. And but your personality, your identification, your ego can be sometimes, if you're not really aware, be totally possessed by the Zetas to make you a source of food for the dark and make you act like a horrible maniac and then control you in that way. And it always prevents awakening. Every time it's happened to me, unless I'm really playing the four-legged beast of my totem, the coyote. It's unless I'm being intentionally rude. They'll pretty much like amplify. I'm saying that if I actually let down my guard, my self-discipline, my personality. Again, the reason why Santa Cruz, or when my friend Ross Sean said this is where shamans would come to do their dark training, because again, these Zetas, the curse, the ghost, all the demons, it forces the issue. You cannot be an idiot for long without collecting illness or misfortune, troubles, or they'll actually physically knock you down. Ghost or some mafia guy. So it's interesting because we can't remain idiots forever. And so Some of us, like maybe myself as a younger person, have to learn the hard way. But if you think about the scientism death cult, it's completely illogical because it has no respect for the organic life itself of humans and the earth. And they dump all these things. And even when you go back to their tests on frogs and all that stuff, man, I mean, reading Robert O. Becker's book was kind of gross, grotesque, and disgusting to me because the first like 100 pages, he's talking about cutting up salamanders and that he was putting electrodes in them, silver wires. He used silver wire, and he discovered that electricity is involved in all the healing of the body. And again, when I went to my checkup 23 days after I was in the Santa Clara Valley Trauma Center for 5 days, and the doctor said I healed all my 9 broken ribs. He made an appointment for me to go see an osteopathic surgeon and a checkup. And I just did exercises I learned on YouTube from an osteopath. I might have saved my life, because Robert O. Becker proved in that book that those metal plates could easily be messing up your healing. But the sun, I would lay out naked in the sun, sunbathe, and drink a lot of raw milk, and the electricity, the vitamin D, was actually causing it to heal faster, in my bone broth. So, the truth is that the mafia, unless they repent, all the elite, ironically, it's the opposite of what they think. They're the afterbirth. They will be destroyed unless they repent, because they're the afterbirth or the pressure for our birth. It was, like I say, I flew to Kauai the day Gavin Newsom declared everyone had to go on house arrest in March 2020. So I've always tried to use Satan and Lucifer scams to empower myself, or to use it, for my betterment. The richest are desperate for control. The space fence, what happened in 2020, the way they put their Pollyanna people in all the different cults and mainstream, all the New Age cults, A Course in Miracles, the idea that there's no evil. The narcissist is really the image of the devil, or when you get supply. And this is me or anyone, even if you just have traces of it left, unless you completely get rid of it, completely do the shadow work and clear it. Every time they get supply, it's vampiric, right? It's like you look at Hollywood and they'll have movies about how vampires are cool and they're immortal, right? Well, there's something called adrenochrome, and it's so tragic. And of course they learn that from these anti-human aliens, and that think they're taking over the world now. But if you look at the Truman Show, what we're at now is like a Truman Show on a grand scale with drag queen story hour for your second graders at it. Okay, so and that is why, obviously they're scrambling, and but the Christ awareness is energy from within. This is very important to remember. The real sacred Christos is not over here in the sky. I mean, the sunlight is part of it. It's the physical representation of the masculine divine, or the divine active masculine feminine part of it, but it is here. Okay, so we're at the end of the dark ages. Rejoice, give thanks. It's not a joke. Okay, there actually were a few white hats like Ron DeSantis, but it wasn't Q. They were open about it, like Ron DeSantis, like Fulbright. Like I say, there's been a few. Okay, and I have to give thanks to you watching, and to the YouTube family, all the people who work there. Thank you so much for helping me be a tiny part of the beginning of people speaking of the force of real altruistic, philanthropistic. Um, 201 backfired, because again, if from now on, let's say from now on, it's going to start to become where if someone pertains to be altruistic, they will subscribe, because it's the age of clarity. Give thanks.